we're going to do pastel painting here, and so you need pastel and you need paper. Good pastel paper that have got tooth. Tooth is something that can bite the paper. Anyway, but you're going to draw somebody, so in this instance we are going to find a reference picture and do a printout. And of course, there are several ways for you to transfer this picture onto the paper. Right? You can draw directly, maybe you use a grid system, right? But that is going to be another subject altogether, how to draw a likeness. So because this is a pastel lesson, so I'm just going to speed up this process by tracing. Okay, so easy how you trace is you can just darken the pencil and then you go over, but first it is advisable that after you have darkened the pencil, right, you use a masking tape to paste over, and then you do the trace over. You use the pencil and trace over, and you can see the tracing, right? Now just get the feature line, okay? Then you can remove the paper and keep it handy that you can look while you're drawing. Okay, now this is a simple method for transfer. Of course, some artists prefer to draw it directly, but you are going to just learn how to use the pastel, and we are using a gray paper here which is very neutral, right? And then you can use the pastel. Okay, now usually I like to start with blush, right? And then with the blush I'm gonna draw in where I feel there is a little bit of pink around the face. I use a broad stroke and just touch here and there. It's okay. Okay. And then I use the mid-tone. In this case is brown. Try to pick up where is the dark areas. Don't be too fast to use the black, because black should be avoided until the very last stage. Okay, this is usually I'm just using this to lay down the colors, so I know where are the light and the dark. Okay, so this is a mid-tone, right? It's just putting it here and there, generally everywhere. But you see, you don't color the entire thing. Just be very selective where you're gonna color them. Okay, and be careful not to go over those areas that is where your details are, because then later you cannot find where you need to draw. Okay, now some areas need to be lighter. Okay. Okay, now even that I might add some colors that is lightly. Now try to find a flesh tone. Now you can use any paper you like, you know, you don't really have to use gray color. And the beauty of having this colored paper is that they all have a different effect. So if it's a dark paper, right, then you know that you don't have to work so hard bringing in the lines, because whatever area that you left exposed are going to be the detail. Okay, so I like to lay down my colors and blotches like this, like big areas. And still leave some area. So don't color everything at one go. That should give you a good blend. Okay. Okay, now I need a darker brown. This is dark. And sometimes you can use a gray. Okay, but now I'm ready to use the black. For the hair, because she got really thick black hair. And not everywhere, remember, because there's some part of the hair that is white and some part of the hair that is gray. So I'm gonna be very sparing, because you you can blow away the dust if it gets too dusty. Okay, so use the broad side of the marker, not marker, sorry, the pastel, and then okay, don't worry about the details, just bring in the dark areas first. Okay, and then I have to bring in this dark area and add it to the little bit to the brown, because sometimes I don't have the colors. So I'm adding all this dark accent. Oh, you got blue eyes, right? So okay, then now, so you see, okay, you can add a little bit of green, say for example. Or blue, some cool colors sometimes to add to the detail. Okay, so I'm just adding a dash of green color here and there. I think blue is called for already. I need some blue in the eyes. Be careful where you put your fingers, It's ideal if you can not rest your fingers on the drawing. Okay, go slow. Don't worry, things don't come instantly. Okay, I'm gonna add some white now so that I can see clearer. Blow a little bit if there's too much dust. Okay, just add a little bit of white here and there. So now you see the white on the gray is going to be able to help you to show. You don't have to work so hard, because the gray area is already like showing here. So I'm just okay. You want to lighten some colors, you just add a dash of white. Okay, I'm adding some colors here. So you see now, I think I'm beginning to get his look. Okay, some areas I want it to be lighter here, so I'm adding white over the base color that I've applied earlier on. Okay, so this pastel is a very popular technique that they use on the streets. The street artists love them because it's something that you can draw very fast. And then I mean now at this stage I'm drawing very simple. You can already see the tonal value and the color, and it's almost it can be a complete. I can finish it off at this stage now, no? So it's quite a versatile medium. So you don't really need to do a lot, because you know when you having time issues, you have to rush with time. And this is a dry medium, so it's not wet. Then you don't need drying time. If you were to paint in oil and in other medium, you need it to be dry. Okay, so I missed out something here. Some white here, some white here. Okay. Don't be afraid to press hard where it's called for, you know. So you can see, right? Now some darker colors there, pink. Of course, now this is a starter set, so it has just sufficient color for you to do some basic drawing, rendering. But if you have issues, right, eventually, you know, is to build your interest in pastel drawing, right? You should be able to do a good drawing over time. Don't be afraid to try colors. Like now I'm using the purple for the lips, because I don't have that really red, kind of deep red, but I probably will use another color later on, okay, to make this work. Oh, I have this magenta kind of color here. Okay, so just slowly does it, you'll get it. You will get there. Okay, you can just add some more red. Okay, you can see now. You can add some more red here and there. Okay, it's like, yeah, the face is very interesting now. I think I got his face almost. Okay, of course, the more you work on it, the more detail you can bring it in. Okay, see, now I'm bringing in the a little bit of darker shade here, right? Make this whole thing stand out. Okay, some darker shade. Okay, can you see it already? You see his face? Okay, something darker for the eyes. Maybe I try a little bit of green. Right, so sometimes this combination of cool colors will help, you know, make the color jump a little bit, because what we see, right, it's not always very accurate. You know, the eyes play tricks on us. So good artists, they know these principles. So okay, now I'm coming to the detailing part, so I can add some details. a little bit longer his eyebrow. Some more details to make this thing stands out. This picture reference, the light is a bit too strong, but it's good practice for drawing pastel portrait. You can rub a little bit. Notice I did not rub anything in the beginning. Some artists would use at the initial stage. They will rub the color in. Okay, it depends on your style. Okay, you can do that. You can rub the color in to the pores of the paper so that it's a lot more smoother. Okay, and if it's, always have your wet tissue handy. Okay, and if it gets too dirty, you can pull out your wet tissue. Okay, because you need clean fingers. Right, so now you can rub in the colors, okay, to the pores. Sometimes you need the pores, but the last stage, right, you will just do the last stage, then you need crease line. So it's very convenient now. I mean, I do not imagine Rembrandt or Van Gogh having wet tissues, but nowadays we got wet tissues. So of course you don't see this in a lot of pastel instruction, but I find this the greatest help of all for pastel painting. You know, you can wipe your work area clean, and you can wipe your hands clean. And now when your hands are clean, right, you can even wipe your pastel clean. If you know, sometimes you rub them over different colors, and then you will have color remaining, right? Okay, so I'm gonna okay, you see, it is pointless for me to use gray on gray paper. So if I'm using gray paper, give that gray a rest. Okay, so I think I'm gonna do maybe a little bit of blue onto the hair. It feels like it, like there is blue there. Okay, so sometimes you just have to be rather brave with your color. Okay, because if not, this, you know, just black and white doesn't pop up. You know, there is all sorts of color spectrum that we use. Okay, maybe the light is blue. Okay, use blue suede shoes. Okay, so it will help to accentuate the black thing. Okay, so okay, now its lips is too do a little bit of brown here. Okay, now we have the base. Oh, the black. His hair is really black. Okay, so we need to do that. I'm gonna use white here eventually to really bring out the glossiness. So you say there's no white in the hair, but it's the gloss, it's the light. So you're going to draw in the lights, right? Okay. So if you're doing this in class or at home, be careful when you blow the pastel away, you know. Your mom may not be too happy that you have it all over her sofa, or if you're doing it at a dinner table, you know, don't do it. So that's one of the problems with painting with pastel is you need a place to work. And like I say, it may look very dirty, but now with wet tissue, a lot of problems can be solved. So that's why I'm making a comeback for pastel after I discovered how to use wet tissue while working. So look at that. Yeah. Yeah, give it a little bit of sharp edge. Okay. Something with the eyes that doesn't make it pop out. I'm a bit troubled by that. So I think I'm gonna have to add a little bit darker. Okay. Yeah. No. Yeah, but just do slowly. This is a bit slow process. If you're a beginner, don't rush. Important thing is you got to know how to do this right? So I'm just adding a little bit of dark color here, and then blending it with the brown. Okay. Yeah, there, got it. Okay. Now look, this looks rather basic, uh, and of course you can work out more detail. Okay, but this is a bit sketchy, and I think that I already got most of the form very well defined here. All I need now is to make this whole head stick out. It's wearing a great. Okay, so I'm just gonna add a little bit of touches here. So now, yeah, one other thing I realized that in pastel portraits, right, the very important thing is the background. How you round up the face. Okay, so the face you round it up by the background. Okay, so now I'm just right. So I'm using this purple thing. Sometimes you can just use a little bit of modification. Okay, now you see a little bit sketchy. Okay, but it's nice. Okay, and we do a vignette. That means it's like just fade off, and it adds that sketchiness, right? Okay, now I feel like I could do with a dark blue, no, sorry, dark green background here. You can even add a different color. So I'm changing the background from the reference, right? So I'm just adding this one side here. I'm going to do orange. Maybe orange. And if you press hard, right, and on one side, never mind, it's okay. Right, see? That's quite okay. Right, and I let this fade out. Now you can see he is like sticking out. Right? Okay. So yeah, it's almost done. And what you can do is now make some of the detail a little bit more crisp. Okay, and then it will really pop. Okay, we call it pop. I mean, this is what we want now for the details to come out. Sometimes you can soften the detail a little bit. Yeah. Okay, so some hard details. Okay. And if you see something, you can pick it up. Don't color everything one color. Try to make the color jump a little bit. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with this, right? Uh, and I think we got a kind of a, you got to put a stop to it because if not, you just continue on and you will end up destroying the piece. Okay, maybe a little bit more, some detail here, some sharp details here. Okay, look at it again from far and see where you can add in the details, right? Don't touch your pastel because it's gonna smudge, everything gonna smudge because the pigments are very loose on the paper now. What we can do is we can spray this drawing with fixative. Okay. So what does a fixative do? Right, fixative will make this bond to the drawing. Okay, so take it out outside, right, and then if you clean up any smudges that you might find, you can use a kneadable eraser to clean it, okay, or best to use a kneadable eraser to clean it. Of course, you can also use a wet tissue to pick up some of the details if you feel that, but it tends to give you a wet look and that sometimes throw you off. Okay, or you can just use a tissue paper, pick up those details that is in the way, right? Okay, so look, I still, the more you look at it, the more you need some change. Okay, so take it outside, then you're gonna spray, right, a little bit gently. There are many brands, so again, if you're doing this, after some time, you need to always test your material. Okay, not everything works as advertised, so you have to try to try the different brands, and then you know what works and what not. Okay, so leave it to dry. I mean, just really literally dry in 3 seconds, and you're done. That's how you do pastel portraits. Thank you for watching.